Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to Talk Talk Live. We are back. We are live. Sorry for the delay, a few technical issues, but we are back and we are available for tonight's discussion. Hope you had a great day. Hope you're having a great week in and of itself. I am as well. And yes, it has, as always, a profitable week. But thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live tonight here on a Tuesday night. Let me make sure that this is on here. Make sure my microphones are up and running. How y'all doing? Hope everybody is well. I wave to you, Annette. Hello, hello, hello. Great. There we go. Great to see you. Great to see you. Great to see you. So yes, seem to be warming up. Seem to be getting back to the swing of things. Although there's a bit of a chill in the air, but it is March, and spring is right around the corner, people. And what springs to mind in spring? Love. Romance, although we just did celebrate Valentine's Day not too long ago, but all things are renewed as the spring solstice is about to begin. I think we're about 2 weeks away from spring. But thank you for joining me on Talk Live, sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Wearing some of their fashions right now. Yes, it's going to be Duntalk week. I wore some on Tuesday night, and I'm wearing some tonight because I think it is apropos that since they are my sponsor, I wear the gear and the jogging pants you see here and the jacket. I mean, the sweater. Sorry about that. I don't know where I'm at. Yes, they're both done talk. And yes, the spring summer line is out now. The Differently Skill line is out now. So let's get into this. When women are looking for men, they're looking for the men who can provide the most stability and security in and of over a longer period of time. And usually those men are more or less quite successful. Now you can get the average guy with an average salary, and he is relatively successful. And I think that's all well and good because that's what built most of modern day societies are average Joes who went out to work for a decent day's pay, and a woman who stayed faithful to him, stayed faithful to his goals and his beliefs, and stayed faithful to his work ethic. But we're undergoing a change these days, and those changes are leading a lot more women to go after the top guy, the top 10% of men that are out there, simply through the guise of hypergamy. And hypergamy is a theory in which women date at or above their expected salary. And with more women entering the workforce and more women earning more salaries, they are looking towards, more upper class, more successful, more financially stable gentlemen to be those paramours. Now, with that comes a lot of competition. A whole lot of competition. So you ask yourself, and you ask yourself, what is entailed with that? What with that competition comes what? What does that breed? Well, that breeds a lot of, temptation that is out there. Because, again, when you have all this competition around you, ladies are going to be ultra competitive because a successful man, an alpha male, is rarer still than any woman. Because you can find a pretty woman, a cute girl, on any block, on any corner of this world, on this planet. You can't find very many alpha male successful males, unfortunately. If they were a dime a dozen, then this world will be a better place I guarantee you a lot more babies out there. But with economies contracting and with a lot of wealth being consolidated among very few people, women have gone on record to say that they are willing to. They want. Let me say this. They want a gentleman who can do it in the high stakes areas and in high end society, and yet stay faithful. Because there's always this Disney complex of women who really would like for a man to be as faithful to him and his options. But let's take the flip side, for instance. And I referred to this on my Talkdtalklive yesterday. You have a man, more often than not. Now again, there are certain well-to-do men that get it off of inheritance and off of being a part of royalty, or simply because through sheer luck, this wealth, this upper class lifestyle is afforded to them. But for those gentlemen who've had to work hard, for those gentlemen who've had to pay the price, for those gentlemen who have to work long hours and proving themselves in the public so they can reach that high five figure, six-figure salaries and up, and become some of the top 10 to 1% of society. It has been done through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But the thing about it is, with those blood, sweat, and tears, women would like for men, even though they've worked in the shadows for so long, and they have done the necessary things in order to make themselves the best that they can be, to be loyal. Therefore, if you're going to sow any sort of royal oats, if you're going to be promiscuous, you have a small time frame in which to do it. Now, again, there are forever bachelors who go against the grain of this instance, but if you want to be married to these ladies, they would like for you to be faithful to them, and therefore be loyal alphas, as they say. Be the ones to bring home the bacon, and yet be faithful to your wife. Now, being high value and the son of a high value man myself, I'll tell you this. And it is a choice. Let me say that. It is a choice for men to be high value and faithful. It is an option that is presented to them. But more often than not, with the temptation that is out there, that is damn near impossible. I'm sorry, ladies, I have to say it that way. It is damn near impossible for a man to be successful, to have that much temptation around them, and to give in to that, especially when men are very much attracted to the new, attracted to the shiny, attracted to the young, attracted to the feminine, attracted to the fertile among us. That's the long and short of it, ladies. In certain instances, yes, you can have loyal alphas, but for the most part, you can't. Loyal alphas are an oxymoron. A man is as faithful as his options. Don't expect to get through life thinking that you can have a man to be true to you for the duration of a relationship. It's best to just assume that there will be an affair or two in your lifetime. Now, again, this is something that is new to a lot of ladies, but it's not so new. Let me say that it's not so new. It's just that back then it just came par with the course. They just came with the territory, and they rolled with it. I think in many societies, especially in Asia, especially in Europe, they roll with it. They understand that. But in the developed world, especially in in areas such as Western Europe, in areas such as North America, in any area of affluence, women understand that this is going to be a going concern. That they're going to have to turn their heads away just that every now and again, so that men can, especially successful men, can be successful men, because successful men are usually hungry men, and if they're hungry men, they're always looking for new people and places and areas of life to conquer. It's a tale as old as time. I think the eighth of the Asian population are descendants of Genghis Khan, of one man, who was he's a conqueror, he was a warrior, he was a general, who was very, very successful, and he had hundreds of children in his lifetime. But in this day and age, in which feminism, womanism are rife, they're thinking, "Oh no, I can have an alpha male. Oh no, I can have this man unto myself." And with that, there is that possibility. Let's. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to rule it out. There is that possibility of, a man being as faithful as his options, being, loyal, but don't expect it. That's all I'm saying. Don't expect it, because he knows he's a rare breed of individual. He knows he's a man who you can't find anywhere in the street. And he knows that in order to be that man, there is a lot of sacrifice. And women would have to go through oodles of men to try and find another. And they tend not to. And think of it this way. I mean, if a man's in a successful world, you're thinking there will be at least an assistant, a babysitter, and a wife. That's 3. You're thinking there are other women that are out there if the man's a social being, so there will be maybe 4, 5, 6. Then you would extrapolate that over time. If the man has a reputation in the business world, maybe he picks up an acquaintance. That could be 7, 8, 9. You can see where I'm getting at here. You see where I'm getting at. A man could have 9 to 10 options. 9 to 10 availabilities. And again, he is one that may just take that option. It's not to say it's incumbent upon him, but he may just take that option, absolutely. And women have to come to terms with that. But let's discuss it here on Talk Talk Live quickly. It's going to be a shorter show in my estimation, but we're going to get into it right now. Again, with the help of my man Araco, we have this little short here from the man himself, Mr. Peterson, Jordan Peterson, who explains succinctly what women are up against in terms of dealing with these sort of very successful men in time. Thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's go.
Which means they mate across and up dominance hierarchies. And so if you're a male who's successful in a given hierarchy, the probability that you're going to have additional mating opportunities is exceptionally high. It's an unbelievably good predictor of that.
That hypergamy is a very uncomfortable discussion.
Yes, it certainly is.
That's a big one, though.
It is.
The idea that it defines women's sexual choices by the fact that they want bigger, better. They want someone who's more successful, someone who's higher on the social ladder than what they're accustomed to or what they have.
Yeah, well, what women do is, mate choice is a very difficult problem. So how do you solve it? Well, here's how women solve it. Throw them in a ring, let them compete at whatever they're competing at, assume that the man who wins is the best man, marry him.
It's a biological solution.
It's a biological solution, but it has a cost.
What is the cost?
Well, the cost is polygamy.
As a man, the more money you...
There it is. You have men compete. The winners are the one that women want to marry. But that winner is seen by other females. And what they drive and how they dress and how they carry themselves in public. You know who the winners are. They're usually confident men. They're usually quote unquote alpha males. So it is very difficult for a lady who is hypergamous to keep him quiet, to keep him secret, to keep him to himself, to keep him to herself. My bad. So despite a man being as faithful as he can be, yes, of course, he can be as faithful as he wants, but at the end of the day, can you blame him when he's had to sweat and toil over a long period of time? And all of a sudden he comes into this success and wealth. Well, I mean, let's take the NFL, for instance. You have a lot of these younger men, especially younger men, who have, worked their butts off to get to a place where only 300 men are allowed to play when they're at their youngest, their most virile, and at their strongest. And they're asking the women of their lives and women are asking the men of their lives in this space to, hey, be faithful to me. How realistic is that? How realistic is it? When you could have a woman in every city, a woman at your practice, women at your games. That's a problem. That's a problem, ladies. And you can make yourself as indispensable as possible to this gentleman. I mean, those are high value women. Let's face facts. But every now and again, one is going to slip through the cracks simply through temptation alone. Now, what are you going to do about it? What will you do about it? As much as you want loyal alphas in your life, there is a chance that you'll have to turn your head away from things, especially if he's providing for you. Because there are not many men who can do it to a certain level. I mean, hell, ladies these days are willing to share these men. Willing to share these men over time rather than marry an ordinary guy. Again, let's go through what Mr. Peterson had to say again one more time, just to break things down.
Right. Women are hypergamous, which means they mate across and up dominance hierarchies. And so if you're a male who's successful in a given hierarchy, the probability that you're going to have additional mating opportunities is exceptionally high. It's an unbelievably good predictor of that.
That hypergamy is a very uncomfortable discussion.
Yes, it certainly is.
That's a big one, though.
It is.
The idea that it defines women's sexual choices by the fact that they want bigger, better. They want someone who's more successful, someone who's higher on the social ladder than what they're accustomed to or what they have.
Yeah, well, what women do is, mate choice is a very difficult problem. So how do you solve it? Well, here's how women solve it. Throw them in a ring. Let them compete at whatever they're competing at. Assume that the man who wins is the best man. Marry him.
It's a biological solution.
It's a biological solution, but it has a cost.
What is the cost?
Well, the cost is polygamy.
As a man.
The cost is you're going to have to share that man. You're going to have to share that man. Women so badly want men to be loyal alphas. It is not... you might as well assume that these men are going to be tempted just that little bit every now and again. The fact that a man, and here's the kicker, the fact that the man returns to you at night makes you the winner. As long as he doesn't have babies, as long as he doesn't have sexual diseases, as long as he doesn't buy any big ticket items, as long as he doesn't embarrass you in public, that should be good enough. That should be good enough. Yes, ladies, I'm telling you, that should be good enough. I'm just taking this down here a second. That should be good enough. Good enough for any man to be as good a man as he can be as an alpha male or as a successful male altogether. The fact that he comes home to you means you've won. Means you've won. Now again, if you choose to go the same route, I very much doubt that that'll end well. Especially to men who protect and provide. It doesn't end well, usually. So it is a double standard. Let's face facts. It is a double standard, and I think women have to come to terms with that. But realize that that could be the worst mistake to a woman. The worst mistake. And that has to be taken under consideration. Let's go to another video here by the man himself, Mr. Kevin Samuels. Now again, this is not exactly... There we go. This is not... I dare not say who I got this video from because I don't want to give him the credit that Kevin Samuels deserves. And Lord knows, I tried to find this video on his YouTube page. I tried very hard, but I couldn't find it, so I had to go with what I have here. They even have Kevin Samuels spelled wrong, which is ridiculous. So you know this guy was up to no good. So, but again, at least it features the man, and it gives us a valuable message of why alpha successful men can't be loyal. Literally can't be loyal. And why would they want to be? Why? When they have all this choice around them, why would they want to be? Unless the woman is helping him become truly successful, then I understand. But if this is just, a woman he picked up at Arby's that looks good, then you can jump to your own conclusions here. But let's get into this.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How old are you again?
I'm 30.
So my question was, why don't your friends like my content? Do you have a question?
Yes. So my question was for the high value women or the women who are above the 10%.
Okay.
You made
earnings?
Earnings.
Okay.
Yeah. You made a post about men who are the 6%. Why should they only have one woman?
3%.
3%. Why should they have one woman?
Mm-hmm.
So for women who are high valued, who are educated, who do make more than the 10%, how do we, get these 3%ers that only want one woman?
Okay, first of all, a woman's not high value because of her income.
Okay.
The value proposition for women is different.
Very true state.
She's attractive.
Very true fact. Let me break that down. High value women are not measured by how much they make. Let that be clear, ladies. Whatever ladies are finding this, high value women are not those women because of what they make in the workplace. Because men don't care about your money. We'd rather have a loyal woman who works at Arby's than a woman who makes a lot of money because she carries a lot of masculine traits, and those masculine traits bleed into a relationship, making them much more difficult to deal with. And we'd rather not deal with them at all. Do we understand that? Okay, let's move on.
As a comforting character, she's discerning and disciplined, and several other things. But money doesn't make a woman high value. Otherwise, you could go into Hollywood, you go to places where women have hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, and they still have to marry men on them. Right. So you're basically asking, how do I get a 3% man to be a loyal
you want what all women tend to want. You want a loyal alpha. Why? Where in history have women never been able to make that kind of demand of such a rare man?
I don't think ever. I mean, I understand it. I feel like every man that I've dated of high value has always wanted more women, but I just never. So is that something we should just deal with?
Where in the history of human beings have men of high standing ever been expected to be solely monogamous?
I guess I don't know.
See, I was listening to Howard's Lady Days. This culture we have here, the monogamy, like it or not, was really done for business reasons, more or less. But if you really look at human beings who kind of settle themselves accordingly, men of means tend to have more food, more resources, more men-at-arms, more soldiers, more this, more that. And he has a queen, and he also has what? Concubines. You get to be number one. But you got to look at it this way too, man. That's how human beings have evolved. And I know a lot of women are upset with that, but where in nature do you see the top males who makes monogamous pair bonds? It's not even in our nature. Now, just because a man may choose to do it, why is that so important? And here's the funny thing. That man, the man you're talking about, is magnitudes more valuable than another man.
Stop that right there. As I said before, that is absolutely spot on. The man that you're dealing with, who would be considered an alpha male, would be considered a successful male, would be considered a high-value male, he's rarer than your prettiest female. Rarer than that. Rarer still. And women have to understand that. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much brain power you have, he's rarer still. And he will obviously lead. And women have to realize that with that rarity comes attention. With that attention comes temptation. And with that temptation comes a choice to make. Does he take on said woman for a good time? Or does he go home to his wife? That's his choice. He can either be loyal or not. But the fact of the matter is, it's a choice. And if he goes the alternative route and sleeps with said woman, has a good time, yet comes home to you at the end of the day, and has you on certain ownership titles, consider yourself lucky, ladies. Consider yourself lucky that he has you in his life, because he can obviously change direction, pay you out, have you get on your way, and he can move on with someone else and let her be the number one. So what would you rather be? Number one, with a set of ladies who can offer him a bit of fun, or be one of those other ladies that offer a bit of fun? Choice is yours.
Just from an income standpoint, we're talking about a man who's at least 3 times more income than average men. Right? At least. Then why doesn't he get 3 times more options of women? She's more valuable, right? And see, this is the female fantasy. I want you to go out there and kill the dragon, be the top dog. I want you to dominate other men, subdue the environment, and I want you to bring it all to me. And then I want you to solely commit to me. Now, for 3 to 5 days or more out of a month, I'm not going to, you can't even touch me sexually. And we know in business, anytime a monopoly is on something, what happens to customer service? Customer service on some products that are monopolies is low. Consumer confidence is average. Innovation is stagnant. What makes a market better? Competition. So you want a man to go out and do all this stuff, and then he has one sexual partner. Okay, then what if he wants it? Can you fulfill his sexual needs? Because men who are driven like that tend to have high drives. Can you fulfill that?
Great question. Can these ladies fulfill their sexual needs? And not only that, ladies, competition is good. It's good for you. It's good for you ladies who want these sort of high value men, these highly successful men. Because at the end of the day, you don't slack off. You don't take a break. You don't decide to have that bit of Haagen-Dazs tonight. You decide to get yourself to the gym in the morning. You stay in shape. You stay healthy for that man. Because that man has options. And he can move forward however he likes, either with you or without you. And chances are, if you don't stay as hot as you stayed when you first met him, he's going to exercise those options, ladies. That's why Kevin has always said what he used to say, God rest his soul. High value men don't cheat, they exercise options. So if you want him to exercise those options, be my guest. Be my guest. But realize there are consequences for your choices. And there are ways to incentivize you.
I can try.
No, not try. Not try. The men we're talking about, let's get into it. The men who are driven like this are generally healthy, generally very virile, have high levels of testosterone. They are conquerors by nature. And most women cannot keep up with a man's sex drive. So he's supposed to go out and do all that stuff and limit himself. Why?
Again, ladies, let's call a spade a spade. Let's call it a buck. Let's be 100 with each other. Are you willing to be as nasty as possible for this gentleman? Nasty. Cater to his every sexual need. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Are you willing to do that? He may want his salad tossed. He may want his D sucked a different way. He may want it in a position that you aren't exactly comfortable with. Are you willing to go there on a daily basis to keep him around? And not only that, he may want it in a different flavor. He may want it in a different persuasion. In other words, ladies, you can't be every woman. You cannot be every woman. Especially to one with as serious a sex drive as his. Now, if he, doesn't like sex so much, then you're in luck. But chances are they do. So are you willing to turn your head, ladies? Are you willing to turn your head? A lot of feminist, womanist, idealist, modern women aren't willing to do that. Okay. See how long that lasts.
I'm trying to understand the justification. Why?
I mean, I don't. If he's in love, I don't know. So there's no loyalty if you're.
Loyalty is we come home to you. Loyalty is your name is on the mortgage and on the insurance. Your name is on all the important stuff. When a man cheats, men don't cheat with their dick. They cheat with their wallets.
What?
Like I said, there are rules to cheating, ladies. There are rules. You cannot bring home STDs. You cannot bring home babies. You cannot buy high-ticket priced items and cheat with your wallet. And you cannot, repeat, cannot embarrass her. And if he does none of these things and he's coming home to you, again, consider yourself lucky. Because guaranteed, these ladies that this man is cheating with, they want your spot. They want to be the number one. And incentives for that position is sex. It's sex. Are you willing to be a darn near porn star, ladies? Ask yourself that question. There's a reason why the porn industry is what it is. It's because men like variety and they find it online all the time. Variety is the spice to life for us men. Variety and sexual virility. See, women won't go down in social status. This is what Chris Rock said. Women won't go down in terms of social status. Men will go down in terms of their sexual wants and needs. And if they can't find it with you, my dear, they'll find it from someone who will. As I said, certain men want tossed salads. Are you willing to toss that salad? Night in, night out, because he ain't changing that. Men want their D's done on a certain way. Are you willing to do it? Do you have a gag reflex? Are you willing to sleep with another woman at the same time? You get what I'm talking about here? They want to save you headache. They want to save you the stress. They want to save you the need of having to go to those lengths to satisfy your man. Without having to tell you about it either. So, that is why, that is so why it is important for you ladies to think about that. Think about that for 1 second. Do you really want to be as nasty as your man wants you to be? As dirty as he wants you to be? Or do you want to be the one to manage the household and take care of the kids and be that high-value woman he's always asked for? Choice is yours.
I've had men just tell me straight up, this is what it's going to be.
That's what, and that's why I say high-value men don't cheat. They exercise options. And as a man who's never cheated, I still understand that you can. And if you're a man of value, you do have options. And if you're a woman that wants to deal with a man like that, you'd be a fool not to understand that that man has options. And if he chooses to do something completely different, that's on him. But it's not natural. What we're talking about isn't even natural. I mean, you know your sex drive, and you know that men's sex drive tends to be higher than a woman. So he's supposed to get out there and conquer and dominate and then beg you for sex? I mean, if you tell me a woman is ripped rearing, ready to go whenever, however he wants, and she's going to meet his desires, so he doesn't need to desire another one. But you can't tell me a woman that can do that. It's not possible. That's why I asked the question, where did this concept come from? Because it's not even natural. Where do dukes and earls and the top 10% of men throughout civilizations, where have they ever just had one woman solely?
Think about it this way, ladies. Think of your man and all these ladies around him as being a corporation. There are certain women in finance. There are certain women in accounting. There are certain women in promotions. There are certain women in commercial affairs. There are certain women in mergers and acquisitions. There are certain women in all these different areas. All with different skill sets, all able to do a certain type of job. Think of these women that are around these alphas as people who can do different tasks and do different jobs. One woman can listen to him and cry on his shoulder. Another woman can cook his eggs that great way. Another woman can, again, be as nasty as possible with him. Another woman can be that soldier cry on when times are rough. Be that psychologist out there when he has certain issues that he doesn't want to tell you. Ladies, that's what's available for men who are successful. Again, if you're looking for a guy who's going to be more loyal, they're in your friend zone. They are right there waiting for you in your friend zone. But you don't want those guys, do you? You don't. That's why they're in the friend zone. You don't want them. You want that guy. And with that guy comes competition. With the competition comes the fact that he doesn't have to exactly commit to you. Well, he can commit to you. He's already said the vows. He's already been to the church. But the fact of the matter is, he's looking for a bit of strange. Looking for a bit of variety. Looking for a bit of spice. Looking for a change of pace. Doesn't mean he doesn't love you any less because he's coming home to you. And that, in and of itself, is a victory for you. But women don't see that as a victory. So some women say, it's when they want loyalty, they want complete and utter loyalty. Where else in the animal kingdom do similar animals ask those same things of their male counterparts? Where? Good point.
Yeah, I agree. That's true.
So I always tell women, like, in your position, if you want to deal with men who are in high demand from other women, your problem isn't typically your man. Your problem is typically the other women because the other women are trying to get your position. It's your job to make sure that everything else does this, that There's rules. No outside babies, no STDs, no public or private embarrassment, and no putting the family at risk.
Right.
Didn't I just say that?
Because do you not know when? Because think about how your standards are. If a man can meet your standards, that means he can meet a lot of women that you think are beneath you, their standards, right?
Right.
Well, then go for a man who's lesser. Why don't you go for a man who's not valued, who's not pre-selected, who other women just are like, you can have him all to yourself. I don't want him. You got him, girl. But that ain't what you want, right?
No.
Right. And how old are you again?
I'm 30.
Okay. Do you want to get married?
Yeah.
Kids?
I've won. I want more. I know I have a son, and I know you all.
I'm just telling you. If you talk about high value men, you know what that means, right?
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that really gets me, and I'm so glad Kevin brought this up. I'm so glad for his line of question. Women with children, they have the greatest gall of them all. They want a man to be faithful to them when they've already had kids with someone else. Make that make sense. When you've had a child with someone else, you've given him the greatest gift, and yet you're looking for a man who's high value, who's successful, who's made his way in the world, and want him to stay faithful to you. And help you pay for a child that's not even his. That is bonkers. That is completely incredible. If there's anybody, okay, single ladies with no kids, yes, be humble. But let me say this. To those with kids, please have 1,000 seats over there and wait for your turn in line. Because successful men aren't coming for you to tell them, no, you got to be loyal to me and this baby that ain't yours. Just the sound of it is preposterous. But this is the clown cuckoo land world that we live in today. Women are allowed to get away with saying that, hey, yes, I've had a baby with someone else, but I want you to be loyal to me and take care of this baby that ain't even yours. What? And the thing about it is, as great as she is, and I will leave her nameless, that could have been my reality. That could have been my future, yes. But that makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely not. And you can dictate terms. No, he dictates terms even in the best of conditions. He dictates terms. That successful man, that high value man, that high earning man who's earning 6 figures or more. Yeah. He's dictating terms, not you.
My son is with a high valued man as well. I know
was he your husband?
No, it's not.
Why was he? How long were you guys together?
On and off for 10 years.
Why didn't you guys get married?
I don't think we were compatible.
Then why'd you make a baby? See, men, I need you to understand, you want a high value man to be a stepdaddy? Sierra got y'all confused.
Yeah. I mean, my son's father is a great man. And
it doesn't
don't
matter.
care.
You're talking about can go get a 25-year-old version of you without a kid. That's why I'm like, I think you ladies need to realize when you have children, high value is pretty much off the table, especially in today's dating environment. Today's dating environment is different than it was even 5 years ago. Too much information. The cat is out of the bag. New York Post even talked about it today. Do you realize that you can't have one struggle to get the kind of man you're talking about? Not one. Did you watch my broadcast last night? Is it over for these women?
No, I didn't.
I talked about the kind of women that it's over for regarding high value men. And I said these career boss chicks, these high earners who want to continue, it's over for them because a man's not going to compete with that. Go watch it last night. I was like, and I also talked about women who are unfit. It's over for them. And I said it too. If you have a kid, it's a wrap.
The Godfather said it himself. If you have a child, you can't dictate terms to a highly successful man. You cannot dictate terms. You cannot ask him to be loyal to you. You're lucky you have him coming back to you in the first place. Number one. Number two, if you're earning enough money, you're too much of a headache. He's going to move on. He is the rarer breed. There are many successful ladies out there, yes, and God love them. But at the end of the day, he's the rare breed. He's the one that not only you want, but most other women want. Newsflash. You are not alone in this. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, ladies? Are you going to finally take the time and realize that you better be as sweet as possible to keep this dude, or get an ordinary guy? Get a guy who's in your friend zone. Get a guy who's going to love you and value you for who you are, and who won't trip out on you for the most part, because he doesn't have the financial wherewithal to do it. It's up to you. Also, if you're overweight, problem. You think a successful man's coming back to you in your overweight state? If you're pregnant, sure, or if he loves big girls, okay. But that's the rarity. That's the exception to the rule. The rule is he wants the fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive women that's out there. Not those with the weight problem. Those are the exceptions. Those are on the fringe, ladies and gentlemen. On the fringe, on the outskirts of things. So if you are overweight yourself, consider yourself out of the market for one of these men.
Because you got to realize that the men you want are the top 5% of men. And they can go get, and they have access to, and women are actively shooting their shots. So what can you do? And then you want them to be monogamous? You're not monogamous. You bring in somebody else's kid. Here it is. Men with golden, I'm going to talk about this. Men with golden penis syndrome are ruining sex and dating for women. And this is written by a really lame blue pill dude. A lack of competition has led the men to develop golden penis syndrome. And arrogance stems from the assumption that there's a steady supply of females. See, this is a beta male who wrote this, who's jealous of men who have options. Because women choose the men that they want, and he's not one. So there's a plethora of men. The men up here have an unchanging supply of women. So how can you go in at 30 with a 10-year-old expecting a man up here and he's going to be loyal. That's a big ask. That's a big ask. Sex ratios among college-educated heterosexuals and singles is approximately 3 women to every 2 men. And then, even in 1981 was the last time a 4-year colleges graduated more men than women. And then, where was this? In New York City, 9 to 12% of men in that category identify as being gay or bi. So, what is it? Some 9 to 10%, 9 to 12% of Manhattans say they're gay. So basically what I'm saying is you ladies, you want these men who are up here, and you know, do you think you don't know what you have in your house that's of more value? And if a man knows that he's socioeconomically, from a height standpoint, or from a marketplace standpoint, he is more rare, how important is it to have a man like that? Or would the average man not do?
Last week I was at the Black Diamond Ball. A very, very high-end occasion. And the chickens aren't cheap. The VIP isn't cheap. And it is there that I really got a good grasp of this whole concept of how loyal alphas are really a figment of our imagination. So get this. I walk in there, and you know, anybody who pays a ticket can get in. So, as Kevin was saying, you separate, let's put aside the heterosexual males that are in there, right? Now, those heterosexual males came with dates. Some of them the girlfriends. So you separate half of those. So let's say it was a room of about 300 men. Let's do the math. A room of about 300 men. 150. I would say, you know what? I wouldn't say even say 150. Let's dumb it down there. Let's say 100 of them are men. 100 of them are men. Right? Now, you take up, because there is a high amount of gay men in that room that night, because there was a fashion show, there were, you know, different arts and crafts, so you can take out at least, I have to take this thing out of here in my sleeve, you can take out at least 25 to 40 of those men out there who are gay. There we go. Take out about 25% of them that are gay. So you're left with about, let's say, 125, 300, that's about let's see, about I'm doing my math here, 175, yes, 175, who aren't committed and who aren't gay. You have 100 men, about 175 men who are in there, who are of reasonable age. Now, take into account that a lot of these guys, cut them down to half. A lot of these guys are normal, ordinary working Joes, right? So you can cut out half of that. So you look at left about 85 men, 85 men, and that's a real great estimation. I would cut that down to half myself. I could take that to about 50. I would take that down to 50. 50 eligible. Oh shoot. Well, yeah. Okay. Men who are of a certain age, right? So I'll say 25 to 45. Let's call it that. 50 men of that sort who are single. Let's say you gotta separate those who are of high value. So you're looking at about 25. 25 men of 300 who would be considered eligible bachelors, and that is a high estimate. I would knock that down a little bit further. And let's say there are about 350 women in that audience, because there are more women than men in there. What are you ladies going to do? I'll be back with the answer to that in a bit. Thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Join me in part 2 in just a bit. Instagram is what it is. I'll be back soon. Peace. Back to Talk Talk Live. Thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're talking about how loyal alphas, how women can't have loyal alphas. They can't expect to have loyal alphas these days. And we're listening to the video of Kevin Samuels today. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Like, subscribe, comment. On the road to 1,000 subscribers. So I was describing my time at the Black Diamond Ball last week. What a time. What a night. What it is. So we had, I'll just go over it again. We had about 300 men in the audience of about, I would say 750. I'd say that's a reasonable sum. You call about 350 females, you got about 300 guys. You cut that down to, let me see. You got about 100 guys, I'm sure, who brought dates. So cut that down. You had about 25 odd, at least, who were gay. Cut that out. Plus, you had a certain amount who, was clearly there, trying to check on ladies who women would consider in their friend zone. So you cut out about half of those. So you're left about 25 to 30 bachelors that women would consider eligible to date. Seriously. Now here's the kicker, though. Now you take away the 350 women who attended the night. You take out 100 of those who had their dates that night. 100 of them. And then you take out, okay, let's say they rarely do you get you get a certain amount of lesbian, bisexual, but let's count the bisexual out because usually bisexuals usually end up with men anyway. So let's end up with about let's call it about 10 that were there. You have then about 110 to 350. You have about 240 women who were available for about 30 guys. And that is a reasonable estimate. A reasonable estimate. What are you to do, ladies? Now extrapolate that over the whole city. And you get what I'm talking about. So if you want to be a number one lady to one of these gentlemen, expect competition and expect a higher degree of behavior on your part. Because men are taking nothing less. Especially successful men who don't have to go into that. Who don't have to share their resources with you. They don't. They just don't. 30 men to 240 women. Let's do the math there. That's 1 in 8. 1 man for 8 women. That's how fierce the competition is. I like those odds. I know women don't, but such is life, right?
Okay, well then you need to be ready to be part of a rotation. The best you can expect, I think a winning hand for you, if a high value man were to accept you as his wife, that man would likely have children, and he would still likely exercise options.
And that's been my experience. So.
Yeah, that's why people get mad at me. I'm like, this is what it is. It's like, because he's like, well, I'll promote you to primary, but you know what it is. I got a kid over here, and I'm gonna be down my baby mouth from time to time. You got to understand that you can't have no parts of your baby daddy. And then you still got to live up to you got to live up to all the rules. No social media, cut off your single friends. You still got to live that life. He can do what he wants,
Right.
and you know, and we're like, that's not fair. There's no fair in this thing. You don't have to deal with men like that. You could choose to say, you know what, I'll get a guy that's making average income, and I'll have it all of myself. But that ain't what you want. So just
There it is, ladies. Women don't want ordinary Joes. That's like men don't want to be loyal alphas. You get the difference? Women don't want ordinary Joes. Like high value men don't want to be loyal alphas. That's the long and the short of it. And especially if a man has a kid already out there. You're going to have to share. As Kevin said, you're going to be put on a rota. Hopefully you'll be promoted to the top job, but other than that, such is life with a successful man. Such is life. You have to deal with yourself on a rota. Now, how do you separate yourself from everyone else? That's the question. Well, I've already discussed that on Talk Talk Live. You have to see a weakness and become indispensable. You have to be one who he can't live without. You have to make his status that much greater with you in it. That's what separates you. And you got to be great in the bedroom too, but even then. Or at least damn good. You don't have to be a porn star or anything, but you got to be damn good. Again, fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive. You got to be all these things. Plus be able to spin plates, look great in heels, and a low cut dress. And still have to fight out the competition.
Just be primary wife. And don't ask questions you don't want to answer to. Do you want to have any more kids?
Yes.
How many more?
2.
No.
Then you better get to work on the sales proposition. What's the sales proposition? Date me because what? Because you got a 10-year-old, right?
Right.
So a 10-year-old, is his father taking care of his responsibility?
Yeah. He's a great father. Great provider.
Here comes the question.
Yeah, I've been in that position too still. Y'all need to come up. This is a good conversation, but you gotta know the kind of man you're going after. Unless you're going after a man who's in his late 40s, 50s.
Mid 40s, early 40s.
Late 40s, 50s. Because those are the guys who tend to be like, yeah, we're like, whatever. But if you mid 40s, I mean, you're talking about income. A guy doesn't hit his financial stride till 45 to 55. So depending upon the kind of income you're talking about, he has to have time to get there. So you're gonna okay. Ladies, understand something. To get a high value man, you're going to give up at least 3 things. To be a single woman with no children, you're going to give up 3 things. And for every ding you have on you in the sexual marketplace, you're going to give up 1 more thing. If you want a man who's a certain age, Well, what you gonna give up to get them? Because that's the three things you're gonna have to already give. You gotta give something to get that man. So what I'm ultimately saying is, if these men by the numbers are more rare than women who want it. I'll give this as an example. It's kind of like if you've ever bought something on the open market, like watches and things like that. You can't go buy certain watches because there's just not enough of them. So they have a whole market to where the price is increased in the gray market. High value men are on the gray market and they're increasing in value. So I would suggest that a woman with a 10-year-old just come and say, look here, man, I know what it is. I'm going to be this Beyonce up in here. I'm with you. We got some ground rules. I cannot tolerate public embarrassment, any diseases or whatever. I can't. Here are the things I can't tolerate. Other than that, but if you break this, and you break like public embarrassment, that kind of stuff, bringing home babies, diseases, you break this, I'm coming after you like Dr. Dre's ex-wife was coming after him. And you can't say it. And most men will be like, because we understand rules. Because if he does something like that, that's reckless. It's dangerous to the family, it's dangerous to the brand, and he has to pay. But most men would say that's a fair deal. Now, here's the funny thing. Here's what you ladies need to understand. The older men get or the busier we get, the less we want to exercise these options. We barely got time to have sex with you. We want to go to bed. We want to go to sleep. A lot of times the options these guys are exercising, they're going over there for a mental release far more than sexual. She's providing a different girlfriend kind of experience, and you're providing a wife experience. You want to keep the kind of man you're talking about? Be his wife and his girlfriend.
Well said, Kevin. Well said indeed. R.I.P. Godfather. Here's the thing. Like I said, men go elsewhere for that change of pace, for that mental break, as Kevin said, for that bit of strange, for that thing they can't get at home. You don't go to the grocery for food that you can get at home. You go there in order to obtain goods that aren't available within your four walls. And that's what these ladies are. So for you to say that you have everything at home, you have every possible food that one can make available, you can't. Because sometimes we want some McDonald's, sometimes we want some KFC, sometimes we want some Popeyes, sometimes we want a submarine, sometimes we want Chinese, sometimes we want Italian, sometimes we want Thai, sometimes we want something else. It is all about variety. But it is foolhardy to say that all women can be all those things at once. That's why we move out. That's why we move on. That's why we have these rules in place. And Kevin's right. And most men would agree with this. If there are rules in place for cheating, the world will be a much better place. Because not only do we fund economies, but also men come home happier, healthier, more stress-relieved individuals. But you want loyal alphas, right? If a man so chooses. And if he does, all the power to him. If he wants to be at home and his woman is good enough for him, hey, all the power to him. But you know what? Temptation's a mouth. temptation is what it is. And for you to have everything a man wants is damn near impossible. So, if we follow the rules, I think most men would agree with that if offered the opportunity. But again, most men are simp-ish, and they're willing to explore those options or talk about that to their partners. Especially successful men themselves.
Not his wife and the mother of his child. Be his wife and his girlfriend, and it's a lot less that some chick can come do, because we as men, we don't want to get to know another chick. We don't want to get to answer her questions. You can actually win. And this is where women at your age should be outpacing younger women, because you should at least be wise enough to say, all right, I got a kid. I know what it is. This is the deal. You should be able to kick younger women's ass. So I just gave you some real good game right there.
Yeah.
If you're willing to be pragmatic, you can win. You can win. Because we, men who are at this level, are pragmatic more than anything else. They ain't trying to have sex with somebody new every day. You know how much STDs are out there? Dudes ain't trying to do all that. They ain't trying to do all that.
And he's right. Kevin is absolutely correct. It's the ladies. If you know, those ladies out there are there for a reason, for a bit of fun, for a laugh, for to hit us in the right spot. That's what those ladies are out there for. And we don't want to be out there for a long period of time. We don't. We just want our bit of fun, then we move on. Now again, it doesn't work the other way around. So, how come I can't get my own thing? Because again, your women aren't built for it. You aren't built for having a lot of dicks in your life and to be known to do it. That's why you lie about body count. You lie about body count for that reason. You lie because you don't want to be known as a hoe. Fine, you don't want to be known as a hoe. Then there are rules and regulations to the game, and especially if you're dealing with a high-value man. If you're dealing with a successful guy, then the fleas come with the dog, right? The fleas come with the dog. Especially if you have children, then you have to be. Then you really have to bend over backwards in order to be accommodating. Or else you can get a guy in your friend zone, or you can get, an ordinary Joe who will be loyal to you. And I know of women like that who couldn't get who they really want, so they just got an ordinary Joe. Yeah. So again, I have to caution you, ladies, if you really want an alpha in your life, if you really want someone who will be as successful as they want to be, and yet will come home to you, chances are that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm just facing you up to reality. It's not going to happen. The competition's too great. The amount of women out there are too multitudinous, too fierce. A lot of these ladies are willing to do the utmost to take your position. So when you have one, consider yourself lucky and play a role. And that is, you're the one with the lease. You're the one with the titles. You're the one doing all these things. You're helping your man out. And if you allow yourself to help your man out, you'll even be more valuable for them. That you'll make yourself indispensable. A man doesn't want to lose you. A man does not want to lose a woman who's allowing him a bit of fun, as long as he sticks to the rules. As long as he sticks to the rules. And is still loyal to him. You will be the ultimate indispensable lady. Case in point, let's go there. Let's go there before we finish up here. Case in point, Adam Levine. Remember that controversy way back when? Yes, the Adam Levine affair controversy. Remember that? One of the wildest stories in 2022 when he literally stepped out on his wife with this lady, this Instagram model. And she wanted him to name his next child after her. What did the wife do? She stayed with him. What did the wife do? She stayed with him. And you never heard another thing about it. Never heard a thing, say another thing about it. Behati Prinsloo's reaction. Hell, it happened with Kobe and his wife. Meanwhile, another source says Adam knows that it was his mistake, and yes, obviously, and that he is committed to Behati and wants to make it work. A lot is being said about me right now, and I want to clear the air. I use poor judgment in speaking about, okay, well, that's the gentleman. But again, she stayed loyal. He stayed loyal. Which made him say this: my wife and my family is all I care about in this world. To be naive and stupid enough to risk the only thing that truly matters to me was the greatest thing I could ever make. I will never make it again. I take full responsibility. We will get through it, and we will get through it together. Problem solved. Problem solved. But you know, he broke one of the rules, and that is he embarrassed her in public. If this was kept quiet, as you would when you get an escort, I think that he should have done that. A high value escort, a high end escort would have covered this whole thing up. But he wanted an Instagram model, so he did. But again, is she leaving? No, because she knows she is dealing with a rare man, so she's gonna stick by him no matter what. You women need to take that in account as well. There are no loyal alphas. There are no loyal alphas. So what are you going to do? Are you willing to make compromises? Are you willing to adhere to the cheating rules and allow your men to get that space and come home to you every night? That's the question. Especially a man, if he's a smart man, who has a prenup. That's the question. I'll let Mr. Kevin end this conversation here, and then we'll wrap up. I did say it was going to be a short night tonight, but we'll let this go.
Lastly, if you need to, get him a sugar baby or get him something like that. This conversation between me and you. I'm not talking to the rest of you. A lot of women allow their husbands to sugar or seeking arrangements, and they set a budget. And they're like, and it's kind of like a pretty woman thing. It's like, all right, you go do what you do, whatever. It's above board, and you know what he's in it for. and she comes with a certain specific skill set, and he ain't leaving you for a sugar baby. He's not leaving you for that because she can't be the mother and minister or whatever. It's really what happens. And a sugar baby or seeking arrangement is much better than a rotation or whatever. Because she just wants the money. She wants your man. She wants your spot. So if you have the kind of mindset to be like, look, trust me, it's better that way. And sugar, 3 months, 6 months, 2 months, whatever. So, and more often than not, guys get tired of doing that. They don't really want to exercise it. They just want to, more often than not, men just want to know they have options to do it. That's it. They want to know they have the option. That's it. So, all right, good?
Yeah.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Ladies, I was just talking about that. A high-end escort, a sugar baby. A woman of the night is always best for these sort of rings, and a budget is set, and the man can do what he wants, and then he comes back to you. And these women are clean. Do you know these women are have to adhere to certain standards, and all they want is the money. So once that money is gone, then the threat is gone. But that allows for your alpha to be himself and yet still loyal to you. And yet still loyal to you. I think that's the best option possible. And you don't get yourself into like an Adam Levine sort of scenario where you had that 22-year-old and she wanted to be number one, but she couldn't measure up because she couldn't be a wife and a mother. Certain women aren't cut out to be wives and mothers. Too many D's in their life, they can't pair bond. So you have a special skill as well. It's just that you can only express those skills in certain areas, not others. So, like Kevin was saying, let's get back to the main camera. Just in synopsis, what Kevin is realizing here, oh wow, did I go full cam all that time? Oh Lord, okay. I did that. Okay, well, you heard it. I thought it was a browser there, but anyways, yes. Anyways, we'll go back to the full cam there. Yeah. So what does that teach you, ladies? In terms of getting loyal alphas, that is going to be a problem to be a loyal alpha. It is going to be a problem to find yourself a loyal alpha male, and usually they're not around. In this sexual marketplace, those are very, very rare men to find, if it is their choice to be that person. All you can do is hope that man comes home at night and sticks to the rules of engagement, which is no babies, no sexual diseases, no embarrassment, no big ticket items. Once you have that, you're good. If you want, again, if you want that person in your life and to stay betrothed to you, that's what you do, because it's been done. It's a tale as old as time, ladies. Kings, queens, warlords have always done this. There's a king, there's a queen, there are consorts, there are concubines. Always has been there. And society seems to have thrived beyond that. And women would say, come back to me and say, oh, why can't we do it? Because, well, basically, you can't. This is the life you signed up to. And more men are getting prenups. So if you want to leave with what you came in with, especially with these high-value men, then you play the game. Play the game. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk to Talk Live. A short one tonight, but we'll be back on Thursday. I'm going to take away a day off Wednesday. I'll be back Thursday night. We're more mirth and merriment. I'm just going to go out there and get myself a workout. Raptors aren't playing tonight. But, in terms of women wanting loyal alphas, that's an impossibility. Loyal alphas are as impossible as a man's choices. If you choose to be a loyal alpha, yes. But if he doesn't, so be it. So we'll leave it there. Thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. We'll be back on Thursday night. Sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. More, I have to call my man on that. I got to get some more shorts out there. More shorts on the way that will be on YouTube, that will be on TikTok, that will be on Facebook. So look out for those, and I thank you for joining me tonight. We'll be back Thursday night, as I said, with another topic, a thought-provoking topic, and we'll see to you soon. All right? Good night from Toronto. Peace. And to my YouTube viewers here, thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. I hope I got to see the most of that cam anyways. I'm going to review it tonight, but if not, you got my commentary anyway, so you get to see my mug. For a little bit longer than usual anyways, but you did hear the sound, so that's a good thing. So thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. We'll be back on